Okay, hi. This is K.N.Fitzwater. You're watching my channel, and we are going on. Now, I am going to figure out what my character looks like. Do we have better hair? I think we'll do this. That looks a little bit more grown up. Slender, large, medium, chubby, slender. The glasses are not better. They don't really fit the eyes at all. Thick, thin, it doesn't matter. Okay, never mind. Oh, this is after high school. Sometimes I wear skirts. I had done a lot of hats. I think that's it. Headscarf? Oh, that's cool. I like how it's all gradient colors. Now that is awesome. That is totally awesome. Oopsie. And I never do the nose rings, so. Alright, so we're done with that. What? I had a crush on him. And we totally relaxed. Grr. I thought we would be fond previously, but no. No. I am not happy. I am not happy. We're still indifferent and nervous. No. Grr. So maybe it doesn't carry over. So I'm really gonna do that. Harumph. I'm gonna leave him alone. Since you're romantically interested in Cove and are old enough to start being physically affectionate more seriously, you can choose what initiative level he has step through 3. Throughout step 3, making sure the player experiences what they want is important in our life, but always putting our choice first can potentially make a relationship feel one-sided, of course. So we added some flexibility on how it works. Low initiative means that Cove will occasionally ask to touch the main character, and in those situations there will always be opportunity to say yes or no. For example, he won't simply lean over and kiss their main character as a greeting or an emotional moment. Every piece of physical interaction will either be initiated or approved by the player before it happens. Okay. So they want us to lead, so to speak. Middle initiative means there will be those certain times when Cove requests to touch the main character, many chances to initiate affection on your own, and also Cove will pretty regularly give affection automatically. One example would be giving the main character a kiss because he's happy or emotional or something else. In other situations, you can choose not to make the first move in order to give Cove the space to be the one to act afterwards. Overall, Cove can't get romantic, but the player's agency will take priority. High initiative includes everything middle does, but it also means the player agency will be reduced to a degree in favor of having Cove give physical affection even more frequently with less prompting. Instead of all the major affection-giving situations being led by a choice menu for you to decide on, some will instead be replaced by Cove acting automatically. This level is only recommended if you're very comfortable with physical affection, prefer to simply see it happen rather than always holding the reins on it. So, in other words, I have to select. I probably would select low or middle, not high. I'm not a physically affectionate person. I like giving hugs, but that's about it. However, this love is mostly relevant if Cove ends up as your official boyfriend at some point. However, this level is mostly relevant if Cove ends up as your official boyfriend. Oh, wait, sorry. I already read that. Situations where high level initiative makes a difference tend to come up in scenes that are exclusive of being in a relationship. The parts that are also included in the middle initiative will be seen whether you're dating or not. Once you pick your level, it can't be changed later, so keep your full playthrough in mind when deciding. We hope you enjoy whichever initiative option you decide on. I probably would do this. I don't want him to always ask all the time to touch me. I prefer this. I really do. And I'm not sure if the game was actually taking in the suggestions properly, because I honestly thought I was pressing the right buttons for fondness, like being fond of him, being comfortable with him, and just chilling with him. So I'm not sure it's because I don't have the DLC and it didn't have enough inputs, but I've been hitting a lot of blues and I really liked him as a friend, for sure. And there were times where I was kind of crushing, but things didn't go anywhere. So when I'm playing this on my own later, I'm definitely going to change that. I think for sure that if you are going to play this, you're going to have to select how you would feel up to that point, instead of letting the computer program figure it out for you. Because I think it's still not doing it right. The start of classes and the relaxed free days of summer. It didn't take long for you to get back into the swing of the school year routine. Schedules and homework became the new normal. Derek wasn't around nearly as much. With school and after-school activities, there weren't many opportunities for him to take the trip out to your neighborhood. Sometimes you hear that he was at a training camp or something like that, but you weren't always sure what he was up to. But you still keep touch over the phone as best as you could. Oh yeah, I would, because I made a promise of that. See, around high school, I did a better job trying to keep up with my friends than I ever had done in my life. So this was what I would have done. The Jeremy kid did disappear after that summer, and no one ever heard from him again. Where he went or what he might be up to was a mystery. Thank goodness. More summers came and went like the waves on the shore, coming in and out. In your second year of high school, someone new started to visit Sunset Bird, a sunny girl named Terry Brooke. She was a friend Cove made, due to them both being ocean obsessed. Terry was more than glad to befriend you too. Someone close to Cove had to be good company, she felt. You were pleased to get along with her as well. Okay, so this is someone who replaced Derek, pretty much. Terry was tight with another girl who you had known distantly from school for a long time, Miranda Eckert. You saw more and more of her as time went on, thanks to Terry and Miranda's own outreach. It's bound to happen that eventually, through networking, you have a bigger friendship pool. They have different levels of friendship. After a while, all of you develop a real friendship together. As for your home life, the Flyers also had developments. Changing laws and public perception countrywide wide made it possible for young moms to openly wear their wedding rings without questions. Yes. Though they had a wedding years ago, it was only recently that the union was officially recognized everywhere in the U.S. That was a good day, to say the least. Elizabeth came into her own and stopped being quite as irritable. She no longer worried about perceived childishness as she grew up for real. She didn't even mind being called Lizzie again, although most people used Liz. She eventually graduated high school and moved out to attend college in another state. Yay! She's moving on! She's gonna be awesome. Maybe she'll do some sort of public service. It was a lot for you to adjust to your older sister being gone. Liz never let you forget her role in your life, though, and kept in touch. That's awesome. Cove's relationships with his family improved over the years. Cairo visited several times after that summer, and things became easier between the two. He was also closer with his dad than ever before. You knew they talked more. That helped prevent a lot of friction before it could start. And Cove only continued to open up to his parents and the rest of the world. He was so bright he shone. He would willingly join conversations, make jokes, and put in an effort not to use overly blunt phrasing. Cove's interest had shifted from when he was younger. He still enjoyed athletic activities on occasion, but now he gave time to more studious endeavors as well. Things had drastically changed between you and Cove. No longer were the days where Cove was just your neighbor, someone talked to only when necessary or convenient. Somewhere along the way, you began to feel for him. He had a natural important place in your life, regardless of where he lived. See, that was near the very end of the summer, where I was starting to really develop those crushes and feelings, because this game does very huge leaps of several years in between these summers. If I did not click crush right then and there, it would not have developed. It would not have progressed. Thinking back, I probably should hit fondly. I think of him very fondly as a friend, so that way it would have show up a little bit better in certain moments. But, you know, it's probably for the best. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. It was strange to look back on it all. The future faded into your present, and then it was simply the past. Even the most fundamental parts of your life can last forever. You felt the most important was partly the day you inevitably graduated high school. It was over. You would not be going back ever again. From now on, what came next was your choice. You'd be directing your own life. That was where you were currently at, the summer after school had ended, the first summer of true freedom. What used to be a reprieve from the typical was now going to be your first step into adulthood. One fine summer morning, you took in what become a very special scene, the whole family having a meal together. Wow. Wow, she looks different. Wow. Your big sister Liz hadn't lived at home full time for a couple of years, but she arrived last week to spend the season here since it was an off semester for her. She wanted to make sure she was in town because you had now also graduated high school, so who knew how much rarer these moments would become in the future. You watched on as Liz laughed good-naturedly over a comment Mom made. Her Elizabeth-only mindset had only been a phase. Nearly any nickname was welcome at this point in her life. Strangely, even though she moved away, you lately felt closer to her than you had in a long time. Probably because she was more open to have you being there. You idly scooped up more of your breakfast and chewed absent-mindedly. Oh! I'm gonna look up some of these words real quick. Hold on one second. person who does not eat meat but does eat fish and doesn't consider fish like meat, which is understandable because the body does digest fish a little bit differently than any other meat products. Poultarian is someone who eats poultry but not red meat or pork products. People chose this dietary pattern for various reasons. It's a step towards becoming vegetarian, while others are more concerned about the health and environmental effects of eating red meat. Okay, so it's like a gateway to being a vegetarian. They don't have someone who was more concerned about having Crohn's disease or something. I'll just select this. I do have dietary restrictions, but that didn't happen until I was in the middle of college, where my allergy to nitrates and processed porks really could not be ignored. So until then, I ate whatever I want. The meal you had reflected that, and included just about everything your moms had made, though you often made your own food nowadays. With Liz around, though, your parents made even more options than usual. Your sister had been vegetarian for a while. They wanted to make sure she had choices, too. Oh, she's a vegetarian. Oh, let me show you what they look like. Hold on one second. So, I'm kind of a little bit sad to see them at this stage. I mean, I love them to death, but oh my goodness. They're growing up. Our parents are growing up on this game. Oh. Conversation had gone on idly without you taking in the words until your ears were peaked when Ma started on about a bit of town gossip. And so that's how I heard the news. Alright, now stop bearing the lead and tell us. What is this so-called news? Ma giggled as she cast a look across the table, satisfied she had everyone's attention. Well, it turns out the Donalds will be renting out the condo up the street as per Sunset Bird tradition for the first time in what must be nearly 2 decades. Oh, it's those terrible grand people. A chorus of gasps and shocked expressions were had all around. After the initial shock, your eyebrows pinched. Mom may consider them by name, but you and Liz had always viewed them exclusively as the mean old couple who would yell at anyone under 25 who crossed their paths. Your mom continued on with the story, spreading strawberry jam over a piece of toast as she did so. They decided not to take big trips anymore. Friends and family would be visiting them at their home. Huh, that's nice for them then. Have a good summer. Me and grandparents with no grandkids away from us. That's a relief. Actually, I had said this many times. I hope they're still okay, even if they were mean. They had a very full life. It's nothing to sneeze at. And you be nice, Liz. You don't want to end up like them, do you? You and your sister cracked smiles at the joke. Well, at least they won't be here to yell at my children anymore. Lonnie? I can't blame her. If they weren't so mean, it would be nice to have them around. And I've been fortunate to have really nice elderly people when I was growing up. And that blunt comment got laughter from all 3 of you. Engrossed in conversation once more, you continued to chat with your family until the meal was over. As it went, once the food was eaten, the cleanup had to be done. Liz took the role of washing the dishes and passed them to you for drying and putting away. You had a set of cups in front of you that needed to go on the top shelf of the cabinet. As stepping still was mandatory, you're very short. I always need it. I always need this. Even now, even though I'm technically the average height of a grown woman, I always need a stepping stool. I have no choice. When you were younger, you have been considered tall, but you stopped growing sooner than others, and now no one would describe you like that anymore. You didn't think much about that. That's true. I don't. I really don't. Height is not a huge issue in my life. That part of yourself was never something you really figured out your thoughts on. Liz shook her out of your eternal musing by starting up an impromptu conversation. She seemed to be voicing the thoughts that had been buzzing around her own head. I have to say, going back for another semester this fall was pretty intimidating. You think after the first year or two I have a handle on things, but no. You stole a glance at her, still placing cups in the proper place. I guess it's only fair. My first round was pretty general classes, and year one of my architecture major was the basics. Now I feel serious. I have to actually know some things. Oh, she's doing architecture. The laugh she gave was flippantly airy, but the way she scrubbed at the plates held more force than necessary. Okay, no, I've been in her shoes. I'm torn between these two. I want to say it's cool that you want to be an architect. Don't be too impressed yet. Wait to see if it actually happens, but thanks. The older sister mouth quirked into a small smile. It'll be fine, one way or another. Oh, but I'm not trying to scare you away from college. If that's even your plan, what's going on with that anyway? Yeah, before I graduated, I was really trying to get into Transy for the longest time. Transy is the Transylvania University, which we love to call the Vampire College. So I was trying to get into that for the longest time for most of my senior year. And I was so ecstatic I was finally able to get in. It was a real struggle in my senior year. So yeah, I would definitely select this one for sure. Looking back, I wish I had the courage to switch majors and just gone into some sort of storytelling kind of major. They didn't have storytelling as a major back then, but I should have gone into some sort of English class or something to that equivalent instead of the sciences. I should have took the hint that I was actually better at the arts than I was in the sciences, but I was just too stubborn to stop. You answered the question as much as you were able and willing to. Liz's smile grew more assuring as you did. You made it through 12 years of full-time education already. You can make your ideas happen, I'm sure. Sometimes it felt hard to believe your public schooling experience was over. In the end. I was not top of my class. I wasn't always with high marks. You had to work extremely hard, but rewarded with great grades. Yeah, the last couple of years of high school was a struggle. And you were going to miss it? I was glad it was finally behind me. I was not gonna miss it. You achieved a lot and could take what you learned with you moving forward. Liz picked up on the silence her question ended up creating. She decided it was time to make a closing statement on the topic. Be a good girl, Cypher. Do what's best for you, and we'll be here to back it up. Thanks, Liz. With that, Liz happily passed the final dish your way. She waved a soapy soaked hand as a farewell and moved on to her next task for the cleanup job. You know, to be honest, I wish my parents had been more encouraging about me getting into more creative pursuits as a career. I think I would have been. I think I would have had the type of wealth of techniques and job opportunities that I had now. I was so hyper focused and trying to be a veterinarian that I really had a lack of opportunities to really have the flexibility and adaptability that many people had. Then again, me graduating during a um, recession back in '08, it was not expected, and a lot of plans went out the door. So, if anyone is moderating in their walk of life, don't worry about debt too much because that's something my generation really has to deal with. And I'm sure that there will come a time where the future generations won't have to worry about that too much, hopefully. Um, Try to go into a career that you are going to be satisfied with, that you know you have a skill set that you could utilize. If you're a creative person, do pursue those creative fields to the best of your abilities. If you have to get into a job that's just temporary, just so you could have the funding and resources to develop your own business or your own next job opportunities, that's okay too. Flexibility is probably key, and the wealth of knowledge that comes based on um, what you're wanting to do in your life. And trade skills are just as important. There are a lot of jobs out there for plumbers and electricians, etc., and we still need them in our society. They are professionals and specialists. So, yeah, just pursue your interests to the best of your abilities. Don't close doors because you're so single-mindedly focused. Don't do what I did. Go out and see what works and be more adaptable than I am. Alright, I'm off of my soapbox. I'm pretty sure you guys have read this part, so let's go ahead and move on. You refocus on getting the last pieces put back where they belong. You eventually move on to a new chore, but that was interrupted by the sound of your cell phone. Cell phones! Yay, cell phones! Beloved songs as your ringtone. You casually pick it up from the table where you had placed it earlier. The phone was a couple of years old at this point, having been a 16th birthday gift from your parents. Oh, so I'm 18. They decided which model to get, but you got to pick the color. It was, oh my god. I didn't have the opportunities. Oh, no. I remember having a red phone. And had a special charm attached to it. Which was... Oh. The crab keychain Cove bought you when you were a kid. Actually, it would be. I would definitely use that. You were pleased when you finally had a prominent place to use the gift. The screen lit up as you gave the little device as a swipe with one finger. You informed by caller ID that it was Lee. You weren't surprised. Despite having busier lives and not living in the same town, you still had a good relationship with a cousin of the same age. Especially once the miracle of the both of you having your own phones actually happened. She got hers first, though. Tapping at the accept button, you answered her call. A familiar, bubbly voice came through right after. Hi. Oh my god! This is not quite like I would have. It was actually a flip phone, and we had, oh shoot. We actually didn't have a touch screen at all when we had our phones. There was a display pad over here. The hinge would be in the middle, and then we had like metal buttons to tap on. Now there's a Motorola smartphone that is touchscreen, that is a flip, and I'm seriously thinking of getting one. So, no, this is adorable. I love the phone. I love it's customized. I love that they did this. I really, really liked it. Hey, Cypher. Hey. I trust I'm not interrupting anything major. Only some cleaning around the house. Oh, then you're welcome for my call. A distraction for what must have been desperately needed. I like cleaning. It's good to hear from you. Now, I love doing chores. Of course, who wouldn't? She giggled, and you could hear the jangle of the jewelry she must be wearing. Nothing amazing's happening for me either. I'm bored and felt like chatting. My morning shift ended, so I'm free for the rest of the day. Woo! Oh, so she's at work. That's good. Oh, I haven't worked anywhere yet, so you can relate. Yeah, 'cause I never started a job until the middle of college, actually. I was volunteering as a work hand for a physical horse therapy, and man, I should not have left. I should have stayed there. It was so much fun. Unlike you, Lee had started dipping her toes into the workforce as of late. It made keeping in touch frequently even more complicated, but you both managed. What about you? It's been pretty normal. Cool, then see then. So, how's Mr. Cove Holden doing? Well, that's formal. There was a teasing bent to her tone. She was never willing to let up on what's going on between the two of you. But that name was incredibly familiar to your ears. Cove, your next door neighbor for the past decades at this point. He's not my boyfriend. He's someone you had affection for, but you didn't want to take the relationship further? No, I kind of want to. He was an important friend, but you secretly hope he'd tell you who felt more than that? I don't know about that. He was your best friend. At least you had to admit you felt more than just yet. The two of you were close. That's all you could think on it. He was an important friend, but you secretly hope he'll tell you more. I think that's what it is. That I'm waiting for him to do a confirmation or something. We'll see how this game goes. Cove was very special to you. You could only dream that it was mutual. You knew you wouldn't be able to tell him that, though. Maybe he would take the plunge. Are you even surviving without the boy being 10 feet away at all times? Or is everything right with the bolt again and he's back? No, Lee, he isn't here. Just like he wasn't here yesterday, or the last time you asked, or the time before that.
Sorry.
Oh, my bad. Can you blame me? Doesn't it seem like he should have made his grand return already? Plus, I want to visit soon and he needs to be there too. You can understand where she was coming from. This was certainly outside the norm. For the past couple of months, and the last few weeks especially, Cove had been going to his mom's place in Nevada. Oh no, is he going to move away? The two of you still regularly stay in contact over text and calls, but still. Your mind began to drift back in time to all the prior trips he had taken to visit her. Almost every year, he'd simply be gone for a while and then he'd be back. It wasn't something you minded or noticed much, usually. That changed since the two of you had gotten closer. You thought on it a lot. You kind of wish you had cared more when growing up. That's how it was in the past, but lately he's been trying to see her as much as he could before taking long trips to another state. It became impractical to do. His part-time work could become full-time soon, or he could be moving somewhere else for school. Cove hadn't actually been entirely clear what his plans were after graduation. I think he's wanting to move in with us mom. I really do. Cove was hesitant to speak on that, even with you. It couldn't be avoided forever, though. You both knew that. Well, maybe we should switch this up to a non-Cove related topic? Sounds like a plan. The rest of the conversation rolled on. Not much longer, though. Lay had to go, and you need to finish your responsibilities around the house. The both of you exchanged goodbyes when you went back to what you'd been working on before the call came in. Wow, she's got a hat and everything. Wow. See, I never could pull off dresses like that. As you wrapped up the last of your chores, you were approached by Liz wearing a cheeky smile. I got Mom's keys. Want to get out of this tiny town to do some shopping in a real city? That sounds great. Good. I'm driving. Yes, I am a late driver bloomer. I have to say that. Yes, I'm a late driver bloomer. Or a late bloomer driver, I should say. Go get your wallet and everything else, and we're gonna go now. With a nod, you made a quick detour to collect your stuff from your bedroom. You have money saved up from gifts you received. Oh, it's still the same car. Cool. After making sure you both were prepared for the long haul to the largest city in the surrounding area, you buckled into the car. It was a smooth ride there, with a light conversation about what shops to shop at and the radio blasting. The trip there breezed by in what felt like no time. You had gone from cruising down the road to cruising through the mall. Liz had her interest to check out, and you yours. Let's see what the new things are. Oh yeah, I was into fashion. Actually, it was this. It was both of these. I love clothes and jewelry. I didn't really get into makeup for sure until college. So that was later. And okay, so I'm gonna have to do this whole readjustment thing. All my things. Let's see. Comic books, manga. Let's reassert ourselves. Board games, video games, card games. Hanging out with people? Back then, yeah. I actually did. Learning new things. You enjoyed music. Yeah, actually, I was still very much into the violin. Um, let's see. Actually, visiting galleries would be a new thing that I was doing. And I was attempting that too. I didn't get into sculpting until I was starting to do cosplay. Um, when cosplaying to create certain organic shapes like horns and such, um, I would use the clay as the mold to try to get into that shape, and then I'll use the paper mache to create that baseline shape. I didn't realize that you have to sand the paper mache down to keep to that shape, and it's got to be as thick as cardboard. So next time I'll work on that. You wrote things, and that was it. Okay. That was a lot of stuff, but it added in a couple of new things. So that's good to do. When turning a corner down a new length of the mall, your eyes caught on a little gift store. Your friends and family have recently given you many presents for graduating high school. Oh. Yeah, actually, I would take the time to go and get this now. Graduation may have already come and gone, but Cove wasn't really around then anyway. You kept an eye out for something good, but you might have something nice for him at home already. Eventually, the mall was explored and full, with every shop of note being checked over. Rather than going home, you decided to walk over to some smaller stores nearby. Liz had many thoughts on that topic. Honestly, malls are not a bastion of society. Even if small stores require extra distance, the brands are so much more. Then your sister abruptly stopped speaking and walking, right in the middle of the path. It was a good thing no one was behind her. She seemed to entirely shut off for a moment. Liz? The attempt to catch her attention was unsuccessful. Something else had all of her focus. Before you could puzzle out what might be happening, she began to mumble out the corner of her mouth. Cypher, don't draw attention, but look. What? With a harsh whisper and a subtle jerk of her head, she urged you once more. Look! You followed her gaze as fast as you could to a large bunch of colorful teens strolling down the same path. Okay. You faced back over to your sister with a confused expression and an unspoken question. What were you supposed to be seeing there? Cypher? Doesn't one of them seem familiar? Oh no, is it Cove? She was practically bouncing at this point, so you looked the group over again, and this time you saw what she was seeing. Shiloh! Oh, it's Shiloh! Oh my goodness. I gotta say hi to him. Amongst the collection of strangers was brown hair, gray eyes, and lots of freckles. That's Shiloh! Our Shiloh from when we were kids! Yep, that was definitely him. I can't believe it. He's honestly just there. That's hilarious. That's incredible. But how do we talk to him? How we have to pull him away from all those other people, and what if I'm wrong? Your mouth opened to reply, but she cut it off with her own answer to the question. I got it. I'll shout the name Shiloh, and then we can act like it wasn't us. In response to that, we'll know without a doubt it's him. Cypher, keep an eye out to see if he looks. Oh no, that's a terrible plan. Liz, can you just try talking to him normally? I think she has a crush on him, honestly. Likely without even hearing what he had to say, Liz put her plan into action. Shiloh! She loudly projected the word across the way and then put on an act of casualness, turning her head away from the scene while brushing at the skirt of her dress. Oh, girl. Girl. In a supremely awkward moment, you could only stand there as attention there shifted to the two of you thanks to your sister's shout. But many of them startled bystanders who became altered to your But of the many startled bystanders who became altered to your presence, one of them was the boy. From a distance, his large eyes met yours. He looked. A wide grin looked over Liz's face. She pushed the rim of her sun hat up and away from her face while swishing back around to greet her old friend directly. Shiloh? God. I think she liked him. I really do. I really think she liked him. This may be a solidified relationship between the two. Waving, she stepped a bit closer to express her intention to meet without really closing the gap. She wanted him to come to her. Who you presumed to be Shiloh looked surprised at the call-out. He stole a quick glance at the crowd he was with and hesitantly glanced back at your way, who was trying to double-check something. Liz remained steadfast with her gaze trained on him, and ultimately he broke away from the rest of them. Aww. Wow, he's short. After a light-footed jog across the brick path, the young man pleasantly presented himself in front of Liz and you. Hi, I like your hat. Just that simple greeting had Liz giggling. Hello, I'm not sure if you remember this, but I'm Lizzie, and that's Cypher. We were all friends when we were little kids. His already wide eyes grew even larger, their gaze darting between you and Liz, his previously chipper demeanor fading to something delicate. Oh, I'm really sorry. I thought you have the wrong person? You could tell not being instantly recognized was going to make this exchange more of a challenge. Still, Liz was undeterred. It was a long time ago. You were really young. I get why you felt like that. However, I'm positive I'm right. You're exactly the same. That face, the freckles, how gently you tried to phrase things, even still wearing a hat. Oh. Instinctively, he looked up at his headwear with creased brows, not making the connection of why the hat meant something to her. We knew each other, okay? An uneasy smile settled on him as a silence followed Liz's speech. He was picking his next words carefully, and then the quiet was obliterated by a new voice bursting into the conversation. Shiloh, what are you doing? The rest of the group already left. A field trip is not a vacation. We're on a schedule. He was on a field trip? Oh, no wonder he was so... Oh man, we're interrupting something. Startled, your head snapped towards the path. A distinctly unhappy individual with piercing magenta eyes, dark brown skin, and a sharp jaw stormed your way. He carried a cloud of authority with him, despite looking like he wasn't even 18 yet. Sorry, I didn't mean to ditch. Shiloh, whose name is now officially confirmed, gestured with a hand to explain the situation of his absence as the stranger watched impatiently. They thought they recognized me as someone they knew, but it was a tiny misunderstanding. Oh God, she's gonna be mad at you. Liz theoretically as well as literally put her foot down at that, stopping in frustration and getting more childish the longer she was around her childhood companion. Come on. We do know you. Shiloh merely shrunk in on himself. The tone he spoke with was pained. Sorry. You honestly couldn't tell if he was apologizing for the upset feelings of your sister or the palpable dissatisfaction of his new acquaintance. That in itself was very Shiloh-like. Oh, you know him, is that it? The stranger spoke in a dismissively scoffing tone, as if the words sounded so absurd to him it was almost amusing. Almost. But the sternness of his demeanor quickly reinstated itself. Well, do you know me? I'll tell you, I'm someone who's been forced against his will to be aware of what's going on in Shiloh's ridiculous personal life for a year. If the two of you had any importance in his general day-to-day existence, it would have come up by now. Don't bother trying to exaggerate any trivial connection you might have. It's not good enough. He's with us, and you'll survive without him. Now stop loitering on the street. It's rude. Who the crap is this dude? Excuse me, we're the rude ones? The high-strung ranting got an audible gasp from Shiloh, who finally started speaking up again in defense. Nate, that's really mean. It's also true, we're leaving. With that declaration, the unofficially introduced Nate indignantly spun on his heels and walked speedily towards where the group went, completely confident that Shiloh would follow behind. Just because you know them for a year doesn't mean you know every single aspect of their life. Oh, people can sure have bad attitudes, huh? Why can't they just try to get along? It's not hard. Don't worry though, I bet you don't have to deal with him again. And I'm sorry I can't stay to talk to you, but I hope you really have a nice life. Bye? He really had left everything behind. He really had forgotten everything. Oh my god. This is really gonna upset her. And that was it. His final parting words given, Shiloh left the two of you behind to catch up with his own life that he had to go live. Liz watched his exit, stunned, only to frown when it hit her that he was really gone as quickly as he appeared. It happened so fast he hadn't even been able to get a word in. She sighed, all the energy built up releasing with a breath. I could have told him his last name was Fields. His birthday is October 30th. That would have proved it too, but no. I really would say this. Whoever Nate is, he sucks. He was so unnecessarily unpleasant when all you wanted was to talk to someone for a moment. Hold on. Do you want to go catch up with him? Liz merely shook her head, brushing off childish thoughts. I think we could leave it there, thanks. He's in the middle of a high school field trip. It's already enough being able to see him. There's something reassuring about witnessing firsthand that he's still out there, enjoying his own part of the world. Though, if given the chance, I could definitely have a few words with him about the companies he's got. She laughed, but you could tell there wasn't much humor to it. She was mad at that guy, even if she was happy to let Shiloh go. Maybe they're only with each other because of this trip. It's not usually how things are. Ooh, he said he's known him for a year. And I think Shiloh, being what Shiloh was, he would have clung to this dude. True. We can only hope the same for him as he did for us. Have a nice life, Shiloh. Good luck out there. You're gonna need it. Liz smiled at you and had the self-confidence you knew so well from her. Come on, little baby sister. Let's finish our own trip. Yeah. Man. That's so sad that it happened that way. No matter how either of you really felt about the occurrence, it was something you simply had to accept. People you know just disappear and reappear in the most unexpected ways. The two of you enjoyed what remained of your outing until it was time to return home. By the time you arrived back, the sun was already beginning to set. You arch your back as you stretch your arms towards the ceiling. While it had been a good day, it had enough activity to cover an entire week. Yeah, I felt like it. We're almost an hour into this. Liz tried to hide a yawn behind her hands. You were the only one feeling worn out. I'll be heading up to your room. I mean, the guest room. Since mine stopped being available as soon as I was out the door. Her tone was light. She had quite a lot to say on the subject when you first taken over her bigger room after she left for college. There have been many trips back home for her since then. See, my parents did not change our rooms when I was going through college, or actually when I was going to the dorms in my final senior year. They kept my room as is because it was only 1 year. I haven't really moved out of state. All the college options were like very close to home, and I think that turned out for the best. The room hasn't been hers for years. It was more of a running joke now that she continued to bring the topic up to this day. Thank you, Liz. It's a really nice room. Thanks for being so gracious about giving it up. I just went to do that. I had no choice. A small smile was shared between you and your older sister. You better believe you'd be back in the guest room when you got your own place and we were both in town for a visit. We could take turns. You have Thanksgiving, I'll get Christmas. With a reasonable, mature suggestion, I think about accepting it. She flashed her familiar grin, and you couldn't help but feel glad she was back around, even if it was temporary. With that, she plodded off to the spare room. You were ready to do the same. Moving into a new space was your first opportunity to decorate from scratch. What? Oh, okay. Ooh. So many different things. It was kinda like this. It was kinda sparse like that. Now that looked like what I would have. So, window. Yeah. Oh, that's even better. Oh, wait, the windows, there's more? Oh. Oh, I love the little... I used to have that until I went to college. Oh, wow. Oh, it took that away. Okay. All right. That was on my brother's room for the longest time. I want to have that and do that. Nope, not gonna have that. Yeah. I think that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. This is so cool. You were really satisfied with the feel of your tiny part of the world. As your thoughts drifted, you tried to bite down another yawn. It was no good. Your bed is now lodged in your mind, and all you could think about was collapsing in it. On it, you trudge up the stairs to your room. Oh wow, it does look so much better. I love it. Stepping inside, you close the door behind you, blocking the rest of the house. When you turn back around, you realize you were not alone there. Comfortably perched on the windowsill was something very familiar to you. Cove, you son of a bitch! Cove! that's where we're going to end our episode. Oh my God. So, if you like this, please hit the like button. Don't be afraid to subscribe. That really helps me be seen to other people who will be also interested in content just like this. And I'll see you next time with Cove. Bye bye.